Nothing challenges you quite like having kids, like becoming a parent. And the Stoics are no exception to this. First off, most of the Stoics do have children. In fact, Stoicism is one of the first schools to talk about the importance of raising a family, having kids. But the Stoics would have been challenged in every way by having kids, just like you and I are challenged. And not only that, I think some of their best insights come from having kids and specifically address how to be a better parent. I'm Ryan Holiday. In addition to writing these books about Stoic philosophy, I've spoken to the NBA and the NFL, special forces operators and sitting senators, but I'm also a parent. I have 2 young children. And in today's episode, I want to talk about what the Stoics can teach us about our most important job, raising great kids, being a great parent. And it turns out there's quite a bit. To me, this is one of the hardest things in the entire world for a parent to do. It's an exercise from Marcus Aurelius and from Epictetus, who are both parents. They say, as you tuck your child into bed at night, say to yourself, they will not survive to the morning. Imagining your child's mortality, it's torturous. It's the most painful thing in the world. It's conceiving of the inconceivable, the most awful thing you could do. And yet, why did they do it? It wasn't to create distance between them and their kids. It wasn't to not be connected or loving to their kids. It wasn't to write them off. On the contrary, it's about actually being there. It's about thinking, you don't know how many more of these you get. The Netflix or the email or the book you wanted to read, none of that matters more than this moment you have together right now. We are not very good with time. Seneca says, it's not that we don't have enough of it, it's that we waste a whole lot of it. But one of the wonderful things I found about having kids is that it puts this in perspective. Because I'm not wasting my time. When I'm overcommitting, I'm not taking time for myself. I'm stealing time from my children. I'm stealing time that I promised someone else. And so we have to think about time as our most precious resource. Seneca says, death is not in the future, death is happening right now. We're dying every minute when we waste it on social media, when we waste it in pointless meetings, when we waste it going to things that we don't need to go to, even though we have a million other things to do. We waste our time, but we're not just taking that time from ourselves. We're taking it from our children. We're taking it from the important work that only we can do. We're taking it from our spouse. And of course, we are also taking it from ourselves. Stop wasting time. It's your most precious resource. And you have to protect it, not just for yourself, but for the people you care about and the people that you don't know how much time you will get with in this life. When my wife was pregnant with our first child, we came here to Dinosaur Valley State Park. And we walked in this little river, and you can stand in these footprints that dinosaurs left like hundreds of millions of years ago. So we just came back. Now we have 2 kids, one's 5, one's 2. And it struck me there's this sort of Stoic idea that we never step in the same river twice. So here I am stepping in this river that a dinosaur stepped in 100 million years ago. I stepped in it 5 years ago. And how much has changed, even though everything remains the same, right? The footprint is unchanged for 110 million years. But literally everything else is different. I'm different than who I was 5 years ago. So one of the things we want to seek out as parents is this idea that we never step in the same river twice. You go do the same things over and over again, but you appreciate how much has changed, how much your kids have learned, how much they've grown. This is why you should reread books, rewatch old movies. You can't step in the same river twice, but you can experience that same thing in a new way. And that's so powerful and important and humbling and inspiring. And I think it's not just Stoic wisdom, but it's really great parenting wisdom. And if you haven't done it, you should try it. One of the best insights I ever heard about parenting is this, that behavior is the language of children. They can't always tell you how they're feeling. They don't always understand what they're going through. They can't articulate things, sometimes because they're so young they don't have the words, but maybe they don't have the concepts or the experiences, or maybe they're afraid. Maybe they don't have the relationship with you that would make it possible for them to translate what they're feeling to you. But their behavior speaks volumes. Your kids are telling you that something's not okay by the way they're acting. Your kids are telling you they're hungry by the way that they're acting. Your kids are telling you that they're stressed or depressed or afraid or feel unloved by the way that they're acting. Maybe you're one of those parents who go, my kid never talks to me. Your kid is talking to you all the time. Language is the behavior of children, but you're only going to hear it if you're trying to listen, if you're really looking, if you're paying attention. Behavior is the language of children. The best piece of parenting advice I ever got was that kids do well when they can. What I take that to mean is is that when they're well rested, when the incentives are right, when they've been supported, when they feel good, right? When they've been prepared, when things have been explained, then they succeed. The problem is we expect our kids to succeed in any and all circumstances, even when the deck is stacked against them, even when we're stacking the deck against them. Your kid's having a meltdown because he's hungry. Your daughter's having a meltdown because you skipped nap. Your kid's struggling in school because they just moved and they don't know anyone, they don't have friends, right? Kids do well when they can, when they're set up to succeed. So as parents, instead of focusing on criticism, instead of focusing on punishments or rewards, instead of trying to force them to sheer force of will, make them be what we want them to do, why don't we just ask ourselves, are we setting them up for success? Are we setting them up to be what they're capable of being? Are we setting them up to do well? Because when they are set up to do well, they will. Kids do well when they can. You don't just like magically become great at parenting. It's a thing you get better at over time, one day at a time, one experience at a time. That's what I'm trying to do as a parent of 2 young boys. But it's also what I try to do with Daily Dad. Every day I write one totally free email that goes out to thousands of people all over the world who are just like you, parents who are trying to get better at their most important job. And I'd love to have you join us. It's totally free, no spam, 1 email a day. You can unsubscribe whenever you want. And I hope you sign up at dailydad.com.